moving molecules, one affecting the other. God's Spirit wants to move us. Each may seem in just little ways, but affects one and then the other and the other. And God does something through us that causes this great wave of impact across humanity. Like this week, I got an email from Carolina, and she and her friend Ray gave me permission to tell this story. Carolina grew up in Venezuela, grew up going to the Catholic Church, but decided in high school not for her, turned away from it, hadn't been in church in decades, wasn't even sure she believed God existed. So when she had to go to Jerusalem in 2016 on business, she was shocked by what happened in Jerusalem. Her two friends there, Asif and Golan, invited her to go, just get some really good food and visit the markets, maybe see a few historical sites in the old city of Jerusalem. And so she agreed. She said, yeah, I'll go for the food. Sounds good. But when she was standing on Golgotha, the site at which Jesus was crucified, something ambushed her. She said she was totally unprepared for what happened. And as she sat there, something overcame her with an overwhelming sense of love of God and a knowledge that this was real, that he did this out of love. And Carolina explains, I turned to Asaph crying like a baby, repeating over and over again, you don't understand. He died for us because he loved us. This man, I don't know who he was, loved us so much that he gave his life for ours. She said, this completely was out of nowhere for me. I was in shock because I'd just gone for the food. Well, Asaph, as they were leaving, kind of turned and jokingly said to Carolina, you're not going to go all religious on us now, are you? Carolina said, no way. Next stop was the Wailing Wall. And Golan explained, Carolina, did I say Carolina? I'm so sorry. Golly. It's Carolina. Did I say it the whole time? Okay. She corrected me. We have a little funny story going about how much she had to correct me on how to say Carolina and not Carolina. So Golan says to her, Carolina, the Wailing Wall is like having a direct line to God. All other times, it's long distance. So Carolina said, I prayed sincerely for the first time in 30 years. So the wind of God's Spirit is blowing across the hearts of humanity. Well, Carolina gets back to Austin. She said, life returned to normal. She kind of let the whole experience go. Got really busy and crazy at work. One night, out of sheer boredom, she sees on her phone an offer to win 600 gold bars if you reach level 12 in Lords Mobile. So she downloaded the app, thought that's too good to be true, and got recruited to play on a team with a guy leading it out of Okinawa, Japan, player named Fury. So over the next few months, as Carolina played this war game online, she got to know Fury, got to be friends with Fury, and then her uncle committed suicide. And she was full of not only grief, but also a lot of guilt. And she opened up to Fury about the guilt and the grief she was feeling. And Fury told her about his faith in Jesus and how Jesus had taken away all of his guilt and wants to remove any of hers, and how much he loved us and even died for us so that we would have a relationship with God and so that we would live free of all that. And she said all the emotions and memories of Jerusalem flooded back. And one molecule affects another. And they decided to start reading about Jesus in the book of John online. And they started doing that over the next few months. And then Fury said to her, you need to find a church, Carolina. And Carolina absolutely did not want to do church. She said, no, because church as she grew up didn't seem to connect at all with this God of love she was starting to discover. But her best friend at work, Ray, started inviting her to Gateway Church about that time. Carolina resisted, but Ray had grown up in Korea, and Ray said to her, look, I'm agnostic, semi-Buddhist, but I go because it's different, and it actually helps me. So Carolina said this. She said, well, if my agnostic, semi-Buddhist friend would go to a Christian church, maybe I should try it. And so Carolina came. And one of our other teaching pastors was teaching that day, and what he said impacted her so much. she decided to go take the Starting Gate tour, and she did, and started to volunteer. And Carolina said, I started serving in the production team, and with that came a sense of belonging. In September, I joined a class called Alpha. Alpha is an 8-week course where anybody can come and ask questions. No judgment, it's safe, talking about your doubts, talking about Christianity, Jesus, the Bible, no matter where you are in faith or without faith. So I dragged Ray with me. Alpha seemed to be the perfect place for us to get the answers that we needed. And then Pat, her Alpha group leader, she said was humble, admitted when he didn't know stuff. The group processing really helped her in this newfound faith. One affects another. Carolina said, on December 16th, 2018, with Pat, my Alpha group leader, by my side, I got baptized. She said, we each have our own reasons for taking that step. For me, Jesus had me at hello. She said, okay, not really true. God had to keep knocking on the door until it was impossible for me to miss what was happening. But today, Carolina is actually helping lead in Alpha. She's been helping start a business leaders network, and now she's one of those little molecules of water affecting another. She said, the church has given me the opportunity to be myself and use my strengths. My head's exploding with ideas of what we can do. We're in it together. We want to open Alpha for Spanish-speaking people. We want to touch somebody's life through the Marketplace Network. I want to help others serve and be transformed like it started for me. So many opportunities to let people know they are loved by God and we've got their back. I have great people around me, friends, a life group, and guess what? Ray is a part of them with me. And it was so cool because last week, Ray and Carolina came up to me, both beaming, because not only had God used Ray to get Carolina here to come to faith, but then God used Carolina in Ray's life and another person in Ray's life, and last week, Ray came to faith as well. Isn't that amazing? And by the way, Carolina would kill me if I didn't plug this. So those of you who have questions still, Alpha's starting tomorrow. And Carolina will be out in the lobby at the Alpha table, and go check it out. You got nothing to lose. But as we love and